What is up, Slap fans? I am Jason Burgos, and I once again have the great pleasure of being joined by a major influencer in the sport of slap fighting. He's a longtime vet of the MMA promotion game that, over the last 3 years, has helped turn Slap Fight Championship into a premier organization in the growing industry. And now he is with me to talk some very big news that will have widespread ramifications on the sport and just grow this damn thing in unexpected ways you're not even ready for. He is a singer, a commentator, a promoter, and a CEO. He does it all, people. He is the one and only JT Tilley, Senor Tilley. Thanks so much for the time, man. I can't wait for you to break this news. I can't wait.
That's possibly the greatest intro I've ever had, man. Ending with Senor Tilley. I've had so many that end with Senor Tilley. That was the greatest. How you doing, Jason?
I'm fantastic. I'm excited. I'm bubbling from within at what's to come, and when people see this and their minds are blown, I'm ready for you to unleash the hellions on them now with this.
Unleash the hellions. Okay, well, the big news actually tonight is we are announcing the formation of the World Slap Fighting Alliance. I'm so excited about this. You have no idea. Actually, you do have an idea, but I'll just tell your viewers, the World Slap Fighting Alliance, we have just formed. It is unbelievable that we've been able to make this huge headway in the industry. But those of you that are American slap fans and you're not familiar with the Eastern European League, there's a league in Eastern Europe. It's a Polish league. It's called Punchdown. If you haven't seen Punchdown, I encourage you to go to their YouTube channel and check them out. They are the European place to go for slap fighting, and I've always been a huge fan. And unbeknownst to me, they were a huge fan of slap fight here in the United States. And so we connected, I want to say a couple of months back, and started having some conversations. And here in the last couple of months, we have finally finished putting together the World Slap Fighting Alliance, which is an alliance between the two largest slap fighting leagues in the world. And instead of working against each other, we're going to work together to build this sport and hopefully usher it in 2022 as a mainstream sport.
And what's crazy, and for fans that may be just getting into this sport, maybe they're MMA fans, hopefully too, it's an easy transition. It's a combat sport. This is like the UFC and Bellator coming to an alliance, which in the world of MMA just never freaking happens. It just doesn't happen. So like to this idea, and if you just give me a little bit more depth if you can on how it all came together, how it came together so easily, because this is not something like you often hear for major kind of mergers like this, alliances, you think, oh, it takes weeks, it takes months, it's like an email here, you get back a week later. This all came together from what you told me, like within the last few weeks and stuff like that. Like, one, is it stunning that we are where we are from where you were, say, 3 weeks ago to now, and how has this relationship seemed to blossom into a genuine understanding and seem to go so well so fast?
Well, to be honest with you, I think a lot of it had to do with the press that we received from the last interview that you and I did, to be honest. I got a call from Jacob Berdojewicz, I probably just butchered his last name, but Jacob is, he's the director of strategic partnership for Punchdown. And I got a message from him one day, and he said, I feel that our organizations are the only two right promotions for slap fighting in the world. And he said, I'd love to talk to you. And, of course I'm going to talk to the guy. He's not the owner of Punchdown. He's actually the director of strategic partnership. I think that's his role. But the two owners of Punchdown are actually close friends of his who don't speak English. Oh, so most of our conversations go through Jacob. And so I got to credit Jacob with being part of the reason why this happened so quickly. He's just made this a seamless transition for us. Interesting fact, the two owners of Punchdown are MTV reality stars in Poland. Yeah, it's interesting. They got together after their stint on MTV, and they created Punchdown. And in Poland, Punchdown is a staple. It's the only slap fighting league in the area. And unbeknownst to most people, it's a Polish league and not a Russian league. I think most people in the United States, they talk to me a lot about the Russian league. Yeah, there isn't a Russian league. It's a Polish league. But Vasily Kamatsky, it does compete there. And so I think that's where people get a little bit confused. But We don't have the same rule set. We don't have the same type of athletes. We have weight classes in the United States, and they haven't had weight classes there. And of course, they have a limit on the amount of rounds that they do in their title fights. We do not. So there are a lot of differences between American slap fighting and European slap fighting, but our mission statement was basically the same. And so the more we talked, the more we realized that it's going to be much more difficult to build this sport away from each other than together. And so for lack of a better term, we just sort of formed the alliance because working together has always been better in my experience.
And especially, for the people that benefit are the fans and the athletes. Because the problem with the divisiveness in other sports, or even going to boxing with the different commissions, or like WBC, IBF, all those kind of things, that you don't always get the best, possibly compete against the best, and you're separating the money all over the place instead of putting it all into kind of, if you can, one pod, one effort. Because this is just the beginning stages. It's still a work in progress, but the goal, from 5 years from now, really, so much potential. But moving on from there is one of the fascinating things about this, and I'm honored to be one of the first to see this, because people love a good ranking system, and you guys are effing geniuses for doing rankings right away, because people love rankings. People want to know the pecking order. They want to see who the pecking order. Oh, this guy, if this guy moves up, he can maybe fight this guy. He's the number one. Oh, he should be the contender here. He should get top. So let's go through. I'm gonna go through the top 10. I'll start from actually it's a top 12. I'll start from 12, and then I'll end it on 1 to just build the drama. It is Oscar season just ended. Let's build the drama. Now, number 12 is Heckman. We got number 11, Coach Killa. Number 10 is Max. Number 9, Frank the Tank. Number 8 is Dinaj. Number 7, it's already 7. This guy just got here. He's already 7. Solid Slug is 7 already, people. Number 6, Dudzio. Number 5, Lupa. Number 4, Darius the Destroyer. That there may be some controversy with that. I know Darius is a big name in the sport, big time. Some people may not be maybe surprised he's 4, but considering who's in front, it may be understandable. Number 3 is Vasily Kamatsky, aka the Dumpling. Number 2, the Wolverine. The Wolverine, people. The Wolverine is not number 1, but number 1. I get it. He was just on Fight TV not too long ago doing big things. He just beat the number 3 guy. This is why rankings is great, people. He just beat number 3. This is why he should be 1, and that is Zalesh. Were there any tough decisions in forming this? What were the toughest ones?
Well, first, let me just point out how excited you just got. That's what happened.
I told you, people love rankings. They love it.
I love watching that. When I was talking to Punchdown, and some of the other guys on the board for the alliance, we realized that I didn't really have any intention of putting out any sort of rankings, but once the little board started to emerge, that was one of the things that kept happening. With our promotion, Jason, we make a solid effort every single day to connect with our fans. I think today, I'm actually looking at it right now, we are at 72,000 YouTube followers, which for us is a big, we're excited about that. And we routinely, go and communicate with them in the comment feeds and on social media. And I would say that 25% of the messages that we receive are people asking us to rank our fighters. And, what the difference does it make to rank the American fighters? What they want to see is worldwide rankings. Yes. So we sat down and we all voted, and it was it's difficult because, I'm the American promoter. I don't necessarily represent Punchdown until here recently. This is the first time I've actually been able to speak for Punchdown ever, this conversation with you. So obviously I'm going to be biased toward the athletes that are in our promotion, and they're the same way. But we all sat down. There's an equal amount of Americans and the Europeans on the board. And I want you to know we all came up with the same top 5. Not a single person had a different understanding of what that top 5 was going to be.
All right.
And, to be honest, I spoke to most of these guys today, oddly. And I talked to Darius the Destroyer. He was really happy to be number 4.
All right.
This is a kid with no ego. You have to understand, Darius, he showed up at our very first tournament. He lived in the town where we were doing our first tournament. And he was a 19-year-old kid. He wasn't even supposed to be in the bar where the tournament was happening. Wow. But he showed up and he won the tournament. He's won every heavyweight tournament we've ever had from the age of 19 until now. I believe he's 23 years old.
Wow.
He's never lost a match. He's 13-0. And so it's fantastic that he's in the top 5, but he did have to face the same people a few times in that 13 wins. And so for him, it's about the competition. Okay. I will point out that four of those wins were against Frank the Tank, who was a finalist in 4 tournaments that Darius won. And Frank the Tank is no slouch. He's actually, I believe they've got him at number 9 on the rankings. Mm-hmm. Frank is no slouch. So based on that performance, and of course, that's also what helped Solid Slug to get recognized, was that fight with Frank the Tank. Mm. Based on that performance, Darius was number 4. Now, Darius would love to have an opportunity to fight Vasily. He would love to, and especially now that Vasily weighs almost exactly what Darius weighs. Now, when is a guy like Darius the Destroyer ever from Rockaway Beach, Missouri, when is that kid ever going to have an opportunity to fight the Russian sensation? Well, this is what's happening. Yep. It's going to happen. The number 1 fighter in the world right now, let me correct myself, the number 1 slap fighter in the world right now is Zales. I love Zales. I agree that he's number 1. And to see him versus Wolverine would be unbelievable to slap fighting fans. Yes. And Wolverine would love it. And I actually spoke to Zales today also about an hour ago. And Zales is okay with that too. These are things that are happening, Jason. And I didn't think they were going to happen for us. But over the last few weeks, we've actually come up with an alliance that's going to allow for that. It's not going to happen in the short term because it's difficult to travel in and out of the United States and Poland right now. But it is going to happen. We haven't decided if it's going to be a tournament format or if these are going to be main event, co-main event type fights. But we've got a lot of people here that make fantastic matchups in this sport. For example, Solid Slug, 300 pounds, Vasily Kamatsky, 270, right? Yeah. You're looking at a fantastic matchup, and we don't even care who the winner is. We just want to see the fight.
Yes.
That's what happens when two. Yes. I think there was this morning somebody asked me about how I felt about the Europe. Well, they say the Russians, but they're referring to the Polish, and they asked me how I felt about them, and I said, well, I think they're fantastic. We have almost exactly the same size fan base. In fact, we have a friendly competition on YouTube right now. I think this morning they had 69,000 fans, and we had 70,000 subscribers. And so we have this friendly little rivalry going. But somebody asked me today, how do you feel about them? Do you feel like they're going to take what you're building? And no, not at all. I feel like they're going to make what we're building here 10 times as strong. And that's what we want to be, is superpowers of slap, And so for me, a guy that learned about this sport from basically Vasily Kamatsky and some of the guys from the Ink Masters tournament 10 years ago, to be in a situation now where I'm able to make matchups with these guys is phenomenal for me. I'm excited about it. And Punchdown's excited as well. Punchdown seems to like Wolverine. Everyone seems to like Wolverine.
Who doesn't like him? But speaking, since you mentioned YouTube and stuff like that, and what's the plans in terms of there's going to be a World Slap Fighting Alliance like social feed? Is there going to be like a YouTube channel? Like when things go down the line, further down the line, let's say, big picture 5 years from now, is the idea just to at some point just really fully merge and just be World Slap Fighting Alliance, or is it always going to be Slap Fight Championship? It's always going to be Punchdown, and then this World Alliance is just the umbrella it's under, and then we're just going to have these Olympic sort of things once a year, big championships kind of idea. Is that what is it going to be?
That's a good question. We really don't know at this point. Honestly, that's probably an option. But at this point, we're trying to just kind of unify the sport. We want to unify the rules a little bit more. That'll take some time. We want to make some exciting matchups. There was recently an event where Zales won a tournament, a 16-man tournament in Poland, and they did crown him as the world slap fighting champion. Mm-hmm. Punchdown has decided to refer to him as the European champion, and we'll refer to our champions as the American champions. And until we can put them in real world title fights, we're not going to consider that there is a world champion.
Wow.
But we did agree to put Zales at the top of the rankings based on the strength of that win. And so he is the number 1 ranked slap fighter in the world currently, with a very close second by Wolverine. And I haven't told Wolverine this yet, so I'm sure he'll find out when he sees this interview. But I would imagine that he'd be really happy about that. I don't think any of these guys are going to get too upset. There's a couple of honorable mentions. There's a couple of guys that we wanted to put on the list, myself anyway, but they're not necessarily signed to any competitive leagues at this point. So there are some other names that'll sneak onto that list here and there. Okay. But at this point, we're just we're using guys that are active in competition and fighting in the leagues currently.
Now, what's great about this, too, so many levels and alliances working together, trying to support each other, benefit from and stuff like that. And what's great about this is what they lacked and maybe what you guys lacked, and not really lacked in that terminology, but they were just super heavyweights. They really didn't have lower weight classes. You guys had lower weight classes, and you didn't have a ton of, say, super heavyweights. So in a way, working together, you kind of fill out all these different, weight class levels. That being said, going into one of the major parts of this alliance is you guys forming this mission statement that I got to read. This sort of almost like a slap fighting alliance, world alliance, constitution almost, kind of just basing everything off of this and going forward. And one of the fascinating elements in it for me was that there's the plan to have an international recruiting division. Is one of those, is part of that recruiting division not only just finding the best slap fighters in the world, filling out rosters and all this kind of stuff, is the plan for Punchdown to start having more weight classes other than just these two huge super heavyweights?
It's kind of a strange two-part answer. One thing I can tell you is that we started to look at the rankings as individual weight classes. Mm-hmm. And what we found while trying to rank them individually in their weight classes was that the American fighters dominated the lower weight classes. The European fighters dominated the upper weight classes. Yeah. So we opted to do a pound for pound ranking system now. There isn't a plan at this point for Punchdown to instill lower weight classes just yet. But for the first time, Punchdown, their next tournament will be Punchdown 4, and for the first time they've put a lower and an upper parameter of what you can weigh. So it's not a weight class, but you can weigh 210 pounds up to 255. And in America that would be a light heavyweight mix. Yeah. But in Poland, I mean, they had guys. Gosh, they had a 400-pound guy in their last tournament. They had a guy that I believe was 180-some pounds max, I believe. So what they're doing is they're trying to kind of get them closer in weight, but it's not an official weight class just yet. But I will tell you, I'm excited about Punchdown 4. It's on May 22nd, and I'll be watching. We had plans to stream it in the United States, but we decided to hold off. We're going to stream it maybe Punchdown 5 or 6 later in the year. But if you're not able to watch it on the United States stream, you can definitely watch it on the Polish stream, and you're not going to lose any of the effect. It's an incredible event. But Punchdown 4 is another 16-man tournament. Only today we learned that there will be no Vasily and no Zalas because we're looking for another contender. Okay. I'm very, very excited about this. I spoke to Zalas today. He's got some issues that are keeping him from competing, but he will be back. And Vasily will be back also, but just not this tournament. So another champion will emerge from that 16 fighters, and you'll probably see it be one of these guys that's in the top 12 rankings.
Now, I'm definitely going to ask about, working together to promote the brand on each side, but getting back to the mission statement, is there anything in the mission statement which really was very detailed, very specific? It was general, but still had very specific elements in it that are important for this alliance, for the sport as a whole going forward. Were there any elements in that thing, aside from my interest in the recruiting division? Were there certain elements in it for you that you were really pleased to getting there, you feel that are very important and key in keeping making the sport relevant, respectable, taking away any possible taboos, just any parts of it that you feel that are going to be hugely important in growing things going forward?
There's quite a bit in there. I know you got a chance to read it earlier this week. There's quite a bit in those covenants, but I got to tell you, the thing that I'm most excited about is that we have every intention of supporting each other. For example, Punchdown 5. We will assist in the stream most likely of Punchdown 5. Okay. We will introduce that stream to our fans so that the American fans have an opportunity to both understand and appreciate what they do in Eastern Europe. And at the same time, Punchdown has their own streaming platform as well. And so what they'll do is they'll stream our events. And so each of our fan bases will have an opportunity to discover the other league. And that's going to build for some more exciting matchups.
fans will want to know, obviously, because now you have this relationship, because that's always the thing with co-promotion and working in alliances in other sports. Like, oh, I want to see this guy go over there and they should do talent sharing. And we've seen it a little bit in MMA with like Risen and Bellator and stuff like that. But fans are going to want to know about, is there going to be talent, is there a talent sharing plan, a general idea, hopes? Because again, going back to the pandemic, a lot of things are limited right now, but is talent sharing a possibility? And for example, can you be Wolverine, go to Punchdown, and let's say they've developed a light heavyweight division? Can Wolverine go and Punchdown and be like the, Polish champion? And can somebody from Poland come over there so you can?
But see, here's what happens if Wolverine goes to Punchdown. That would be a world title fight, because then we would face a European champion against an American champion. So the winner of that fight, which maybe it's Wolverine, maybe it's not. In this sport, you don't know. It's Wolverine. But I will tell you, when that happens, that's a world title fight. That's a real world title fight. And that's what I'm the most excited about. And I will tell you, the fans, the real slap fighting fans in the United States, this is what they want. This is what they've been telling me that they want for well over 2 years. And when they see this interview, there are going to be hundreds of thousands of very happy fans to realize that maybe not in the immediate future, but as soon as we are available to travel and make these matches happen, it's already happening. We've already talked about several of them, and we already know exactly what the plan is. And let me tell you, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be incredible. And, to be completely honest with you, this is something that I would want to see even if I were a fan, because there's such a difference in the two sports, in the two areas of the world. In the United States, we use a barrel. It allows for a little bit more extension. In Eastern Europe, they use a table, which doesn't. We've got guys here that have been competing. I think this is coming up next month is our 13th event. And so you've got guys here that have been working on strategies and different styles of fighting. And at Punchdown, it may be the same. I don't know, but I'm interested in seeing how those compete with each other. It's going to be exciting and it's going to be fun, but at the same time, it doesn't weaken either organization. And when we realize that we basically have the same philosophy in building the sport, we realize, well, I have no issue with Punchdown they can be more successful if they want, just as long as we can work together. I think 2 years from now, this will be a sport that people give respect. Now, I don't think we're the NFL, and I never will ever try to make it into the NFL or even the UFC. But, I've seen some really cool alternative sports in the last 10 or 12 years, and I would really like to find a place for us there.
I can just imagine, and just this is my weird, sick mind, in that there's like the world championships, it's like either on a cruise ship or just on a barge in the middle of the Atlantic, and we call it Slap Island, and we just have fights, and can we get Slap Island? Could that be possible?
Well, last time you tried to instigate Slap Cave, and now Slap Island. I mean, I'll be honest with you. We have a pay-per-view. SlapFIGHT has an American pay-per-view scheduled for, I believe it's August or September at this point. And, we're in the Ozark Mountains. And so we're considering having this pay-per-view from a cave. Really? That's a really neat idea. So imagine awesome. The slaps. Imagine so inside awesome. Of a cave, Yes. So we want to do some cool shit, man. But again, we already know what the main event for that pay-per-view will be, because it's the matchup that the fans want the most. The matchup that the fans want to see is the matchup that we're going to put in the main event of that card.
All right. We'll just leave
it. You can guess if you want, but I can't announce yet because I don't.
I mean, you know what? You gave him a lot already. You know what? You got an entree and dessert. You got all these things. People, you can wait until that for later.
Well, I haven't told Darius and Wolverine yet, so I can't break it here. Okay, but once they know, I'll announce it.
Yeah, but we'll just keep that secret for now. Now,
it's important.
Last question. Speaking of travel, the world and stuff like that, let's talk expansion, because we talked a little bit about that last time. And, give me any updates you may have, because, now that we have this working slap fighting world alliance happening, instead of just you trying to expand the Slap Fight Championship brand, expansion is even more fascinating, because we start getting people from all these places. So talk to me about what's the latest with the Southeast Asia TV deal that you're working on. You tell me about what's the latest with this Australia. You told me there was a possible trip there to build a league there. South Africa, which is fascinates me as well. And even, you told me about possibly the UK might be an option too. Talk to me what's the latest and really expanding this to a whole nother level.
Yes, sir. This morning I spoke to the promoter in Britain, is SlapFIGHT Britain, will be unveiled probably within the month. We're still in negotiation. Awesome. Yeah, we're really, really excited about this. We've got a promoter in Britain he's put a couple things together for us already. We're going to debut his fight on our YouTube channel so that we can sort of help him build his roster in Britain. Also, we've got, of course, May 1st, we start in Southeast Asia with Fox. I don't think I've actually announced that yet. We've signed an agreement with Fox Sports, and they'll be showing our content on Fox Sports in Philippines, Thailand, China, Indonesia, Singapore, and it's about 600 million families. So we're really excited to be able to get some. When will that start? That starts May 1st, actually, here in a couple days.
So they'll start getting previous events. When will be the first new event that they'll get?
Well, we've actually sent them some episodes already that, they've already got our first female fight. And then, of course, on Wednesday or Thursday this week, we're uploading our middleweight title, our final of our middleweight tournament. They've got all of that stuff. And they've got it in episode format. So 30-minute episodes twice a month across Southeast Asia. And that'll set us up for our Southeast Asia pay-per-views later in the year. That's the goal. Awesome. So the world is learning about slap fighting. We've got Poland and Russia, Southeast Asia, South Africa is still in the works. Australia is still in the works, and now SlapFIGHT Britain. All great people, all great promoters working hard together. Hopefully some of those leagues will be successful enough that we can add them to the alliance eventually, and maybe they'll find some champions as well. But at the end of the day, we just want to find success for the sport. There's not a lot of ego with the promoters involved. It's nice to see, actually.
And are those Australia, UK, South Africa, are those going to be kind of under the SlapFIGHT Championship banner?
Yes, sir.
They will be called SlapFIGHT, SlapFIGHT Championship Britain, or SlapFIGHT Britain, SlapFIGHT Australia, SlapFIGHT South Africa.
Yes, sir. SlapFIGHT Australia, SlapFIGHT UK, and it'll be the same rule set that we use in the United States. So all the rules will be unified. There is a plan to unify the rules between us and the Europeans as well, but that's a lot. We've got a long way to go to get those to where they need to be. So for now, we're taking some baby steps. We're trying some new things, and hopefully by the end of the year it'll be seamless. But so far, it's been a blast putting it together. Aside from staying up till 4 a.m. to have these calls with them, it's been really easy. They're easy to work with. They have great ideas. They love the sport. And they really do take good care of their athletes, which is important to me.
I mean, that's all I really got. But I mean, I feel we've blown minds. People are going to watch this and just be super excited. They can't wait. Is there anything else maybe that you felt that wasn't talked about, wasn't mentioned, that you like to throw in there just to continue?
Maybe a couple. I might say a couple things.
Okay.
Most of what we're doing, these are not unique ideas that we came up with on our own. Most of the things that we discuss when I talk to the partners in Europe, we talk about the things that our fans are asking us for. I watched when MMA was called No Holds Barred, and it was a new sport, and everybody had their ideas about how it should work and what the rules should be. And at that point, you couldn't really have an effect on the rules of that sport. It was what it was. But here, I to be honest with you, I had a guy, I hope he's watching. I can't remember his name. It was Michael something. He hit me up on YouTube today. And he said, look, I have an idea for a rule that would keep this and this from happening. And I don't want to be too specific because I don't want to start anything. But I hit him back up and I said, hey, man, that's a great idea. And I know you expected me to say, hey, you suck. That was a dumb comment. But the truth is, I'm going to talk to everyone about it because his idea was fantastic, Yeah. And so, what we're doing is we're listening to the fans and we want them to know we appreciate them. And we want to know what matchups they want to see. And we listen. It's important in the United States that we stick within our weight classes. In a lot of the countries where I'm talking to promoters, they don't have an athletic commission to stay on the right side of. But here in the United States, it's very important that we stick within the weight classes. That doesn't mean we can't travel to Poland and put Zales against Wolverine, that we don't have those restrictions there. Yeah. But those are super fights, and those are not going to be typical of what we're doing. But again, this is what we came to do. We came to build a sport. We have a great time doing it, and there are so many fans that are just, I don't know if I want to say that they're radical fans, but there's so many just fans that are emphatic about this sport. They all have ideas, and we don't mind listening. And some of what's happened with this alliance come directly from the comment section of our YouTube or from our Instagram or our TikTok. And we encourage our fans to let us know what matchups do you want to see. We've got, I'm looking at the rankings here. Zalis, Wolverine, Vasily, Darius. Those are 4 people right there that any one of those guys fighting the other is a world-class slap fight.
Yeah.
And you've got guys like Solid Slug, who just showed up on the scene. Solid Slug is so popular, so fast, Jason. This morning I got a message from World Star. And, you know, we've been a viral company for years, but never have we been featured on World Star. And here's Solid Slug in his first tournament. He's all over World Star. He hits me up today, and he told me, he said, I can't believe it. He said, that's, to me, being on World Star is almost akin to being the champion, you know? So crazy things are happening. We've been on Sports Center a bunch of times, and I know that the audience is there, and I know that the fans are waking up to the sport, and I just want them to know that we're listening to you, and we appreciate you. And if you want to communicate with us, both Punchdown and SlapFIGHT, we are here to listen to the fans. As long as it doesn't put the fighters in danger, we are willing to take some chances. A guy hit me up today, Jason, asked me if we'd do a tag team match. What do you think I said?
I'll think about it.
I said no, but still, these are the ideas, right? We have a match coming up. I'm saying more than I should, but we have a match coming up. It's a barrel match. We once did a tournament. It was a double barrel tournament where we had two barrels at the same time going, and it was incredible. Okay. And now we're going to try a 3-man barrel match. 1 barrel, 3 men, counterclockwise slaps. Every 5 minutes they reverse. I slap you, you slap the guy to your right, he slaps me. It's tournament format, 1 barrel, 3 men. Have you seen that video?
No, but I like the efficiency of it. Just getting him in quick and getting him out. I like that. We can't be here all day with this.
Get in, get the money, get out.
Now I got one last question. I have one last idea, and especially since you're bringing up fan, listening to the fans. That's important. There's so many different industries, especially entertainment, that I think insult the fans' intelligence. Like, we know what we're doing. You've been watching this for a lot of years. We'll tell you what you like, and you guys listening to the fans is huge. And at this point, in such still a young sport, there's many of the fans that have been following this from get-go, that they're almost like the journalists. They're the citizen journalists of this. They know it as much as anybody, as the people like me, the journalists are who try to be real journalists, are trying to, learn it now. So, how about this idea? Like I said, people love rankings. You guys listen to comments. Would there be any possibility that fans as a whole, maybe through polls on Punchdown site, websites, maybe the World Slap Fighting Alliance website, can maybe as a whole be one vote for maybe rankings? Fans
it's actually under the World Slap Fighting Alliance is under construction right now. WorldSlapFightingAlliance.com. Probably within the month of May, it'll be active, and that's exactly what we're doing. Awesome. It'll be in both languages. And you'll be able to vote on matchups. You'll be able to vote on rankings. Fantastic. It's all happening exactly what you said. And it's not because we thought of it. It's because our fans demanded it. They've been asking us to find a way to put together an American team and a European team for years. And guess what? We have formed both. The American team is very simple. Wolverine, Solid Slug, Darius the Destroyer, Frank the Tank, Coach Killa. And we have a female. You haven't seen her debut yet. Her name is Tekka. Those are the 6. We have a few more, but a 6-man American team versus a 6-man European team sounds awesome to me. And I think that you'll see that. I think that you'll see that within a year and a half. We think that Jason is on the ground floor of slap fighting. He knows more than any journalist that we ever speak to about this sport. And we think that Jason should consider being one of the color commentary guys for our August to September pay-per-view. If you feel the same way, please reach out and let us know. Jason would be fantastic, and I would love to have him sitting next to me for the pay-per-view. Also, those of you that know of a certain YouTuber who's a very big slap fan, I want to let you know that we talk to him on a very regular basis, and he's involved secretly. And be ready for a big, big, big announcement, and hopefully you know who I'm talking about. If you don't, stay tuned.
This is where the bad comments are going to come in. They're going to be, who's this guy? I already get who are you on mixedmartialarts.com. I don't need who that on SlapFIGHT, but I'll take it.
Oh, no, they know who you are, brother.